Alright, so today I'm going to be doing a horn tutorial for Karkat horns using these. And I know at first you might be thinking, wait, is that what I think it is? And the answer would be yes. And they're just regular plain old Easter eggs, the small kind, and what I've done is I've made a little tiny hole in the bottom for a screw starter so I can screw them into the headband later. And I'm just going to be using these and the pre-made screw holes and Model Magic. Now, I opened up a package earlier today to work on my Gamzee horns up there, which you guys don't get to see till later because they're bad. But anyway, I've got my Model Magic, and I'm just going to be molding it around the horns to make them look more like horns and not so much like Easter eggs. And the reason I chose these horns is because Karkat has small horns, and we're very sorry about that, but we love you anyway. So I'm just going to take and get a chunk, press it down on the top first, and then pull it down here, and bring it down around the horn, or the general shape of the egg, and then push it back so that it fits better. And the great thing about making Karkat's horns is they don't take a lot of Model Magic, but the bad part is, like, if you mess up on them, it's pretty easy to notice. So I'm just going to wrap another little piece around the top here to try and get that more of a point on it than just the regular old egg shape. And it's a little warped looking right now, but everything looks better with paint on it. Like, if you can see the top, how it looks swirly. And horns are supposed to look rough, but I like to try and smooth them down a little bit anyway. But then you can still use the imperfections, even if they are imperfect. It doesn't matter too much. So we can't make too much of a point, so just push that down some. You can still see it looks mostly like a horn, and then take and get the rest of the Model Magic down around the base. And I'm squeezing it out here to make it flat, or as flat as it can be, I guess. And then I'm going to take more because I don't trust this stuff. I've tried a couple of times with it before, and it's great stuff. It really is, but it's tricky stuff is what it is, and that's kind of a problem. It's best if you work with it fresh, and doing touch-up work is always a good idea, because, I mean, it doesn't matter how great they look in the first place, your horns will probably need a little more work done on them, even after you've finished. And pressing them down around the bases, again, just to try and get them flat, and you don't have to cover the whole base, but I like to go over it and get it as close to the holes I've made as possible, so that when I'm done, it won't be too much work to make sure they stay flat on your head, which is really important. And if you start to feel the egg come apart inside, just squeeze it back down. Try not to push from the top, though, because we know Karkat has nubby horns, but we don't want them too small. And now that I've got this one about done, you can see how it's really not perfect. It's actually very bumpy and rough looking, but at the same time, it also, and I put it pretty close to the hole there. And I'm doing this is to make sure that it can be flat, and I'll know where the flat part is supposed to be, so that when I attach to the horn, it's the headband, when I attach it there, it's sticking up at the right angle, so you don't put it on like straight up or too sideways, and the hole is here, but you can see by the flat part that that's how it's going to sit. And that is a really important part of the process when you're making these, is to make sure that you have, and you know where the flat part is going to be. Now, this horn is pretty much done, so you just take and do the exact same to the other one. And then, yeah, and it's pretty much the exact same process. Get like a good sized piece. Like, it should be about the same size as the egg, but not exactly, because that might be too much. And just push it down around the top get it to the shape of the egg. And another reason I chose eggs is because they are really light and they're easy to work with, honestly. Because, I mean, it's fun to make your own horns from nothing, but also the shape is sometimes really hard to do, which is why for my Gamzee horns I followed another tutorial video done by, oh, dang it, I forget who, but I'll put the link in the description. Don't worry about it. And it's just basic, same modeling process. Just squeeze it all down to the bases. Figure out which way you want your horn to go, and make sure they look close to the same, because you can see right now they don't look much alike. But we need them to look more alike so that when they get put on, it's not like Karkat with awkward Vriska horns or anything, because that would be a little more than weird. A little more weird than even fans are comfortable with, I think. Because there comes a point when you have got to draw the line. But yeah, just pretty much same process, flattening out at the bottom and making sure that it looks all the same. Gonna put some on the top here to get the little bit of a point Karkat has. Always start off with more of a point than you need to, because you can always push it down, but it gets harder when you try and pull it back up, and there's nothing to pull it with, because his horns are just kind of like that. And as you get closer to finishing it, you want to bring it up to the first horn and check, make sure you're getting the same shape. Like, because you can see here now, these are mostly the same shape, but I want to get the angle right on it. The same angle on the bottom parts, which is pretty easy to fix. And just smoothing it out is really important, because otherwise it'll look like you just made it at home the day before, or just like, and then make sure they look alike. Like the point on this one is a little too pointy, so just push that down a little, or maybe bring this one up. And then once you've got them looking mostly the same all the way around, and make sure on the bottom too that they're good and sturdy looking, because you can't tell just from the looks right now. But you've got these, and they're good, and I will put up the next video when these are dry. So, see you then.